What is up, coordinators and naturals? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode we are continuing our journey through the light novel Gundam Seed Astray B. Last time, Gai upgraded to the full weapons loadout thanks to the help of a client. Gudvair fought against Elijah, and Lowe showed off his Gerber Astray, which is not a euphemism for his penis. This time, Gai will go underwater and test out the scale system. Lowe in red also tests out the flight system in his new salvaged underwater add-on. The two also protect the Giga Float from Zeon, while the Federation just kinda forgets about them. So let's get into this. Tactics 10, Operations 20. Dreadnought. The Mercs are going to help test a top-secret mobile suit for Zaft in their next mission. Normally, Gai wouldn't take on missions like this, but he did it because the client happens to be Siegel Klein, the current plant chairman before he got a bunch of holes in him. Klein personally chose him. He heads into space. The unit that Gai is help testing out is Gundam Dreadnought. This will eventually be used by Prayer Reverie and X Astray. Based on the looks, Gai believes that it is Alliance-made. However, once he started fighting against it, he noticed that this might be the fastest mobile suit he has ever seen. Gai is borrowing a Gates. Is it Gates or Guaze? I forgot where we stand on this, so I'm going to say both for maximum confusion. As he fights, he notices the radars are working. There is something canceling the jammers in the area, which means that the Dreadnought is nuclear powered. CE-71 was so quaint before everyone started throwing nukes like crazy. The Dreadnought uses its Dragoon system. He tries his best to dodge, but he isn't in blue frame and can't maneuver to his fullest potential. His Gates gets hit. After the battle, one of Siegel's men gives him a disc. This is also the pilot of the Dreadnought. We will later learn that this is Courtney Hieronymus. However, the two don't give each other's names and keeps this transaction casual. It contains data on the Dreadnought along with future instructions. Siegel knows that the development of these nuclear-powered Gundams are illegal, and he has the power to shut them down, but he wants to know for certain if this is the right thing to do. There is an energy crisis on Earth because of the neutron jammers. Nuclear energy would help the Earth flourish. On the other hand, we may see another Bloody Valentine incident. Siegel wants Gai to look out for the Dreadnought to help him make a decision. Gai helps Siegel out, but not too long after, Siegel Klein would be murdered. But Gai keeps his promise and checks out on the Gundam. We know this will eventually fall into the hands of Prayer. Tactics 11, Operation 7, M1 Astray Team. Gai is at Orb, meeting with Chief Orb Engineer Erika. She shows off their new M1 Astray units and mentions that thanks to the help of a certain young boy, they were able to get the natural-based OS up and running. Gai knows that she is talking about Kira Yamato. He hasn't met with the Lord and Savior personally, but stories are growing around the young genius. Also, it should be noted that Lowe also got his hands on this unit as well. Kira was able to develop it and get it integrated, but they still need to do a lot of combat testing and can use Gai for this. They start testing on a remote island close to Orb. Since the Archangel made a visit, they have been on constant watch. They don't want the Alliance or Zaft to get wind of their new mobile suit just yet. He and Elijah are working with 3 girls in the M1 Astrays. They aren't named, but we know them as the Astray Girls, Yuri, Asagi, and Mayura. They are desperately struggling with the M1 as certain real-life edge cases start to become apparent in the OS. The M1 Astrays strike a pose every once in a while, and Gai wonders if Lowe had his hands on this. Suddenly, an attack comes out of nowhere. It is 2 Bakus out in the distance. They can't let anyone know of these mobile suits. One Baku jumps into the air towards the blue frame. The Zaft pilot didn't expect Gai to jump towards him, and he slices the Baku in half. On the landing, he slices through the remaining Baku. This was all done with one relatively swift attack in a matter of mere seconds. They head back to Orb. Gai thinks that these units need to be better if they are going to carry out the Astray name. Tactics 12, Operation 20, Scale System. The Giga Float is an artificial island built by the Alliance. This was built with the help of junk dealers like Lowe. We see this in action in the main Astray manga. Zaft got wind of its construction. This was all done by accident, however, as one Den on a scouting mission changes its course to avoid a storm. Due to the secrecy of this project, the Alliance doesn't protect the Giga Float and relies on mercenaries like Serpent's Tail to handle business. A goon begins attacking. Beam weapons are useless underwater. Luckily, Gai is using the scale loadout on his blue frame. The blue frame's scale system is designed for aquatic missions. It has tiny scales which vibrate to help propel the unit without the need for excessive thrusters. It can also deflect attacks from phonon maser cannons. This was built by Morganrot and Erika for helping out Orb with testing. The goon made a mistake assuming the blue frame was an aquatic mobile suit, but once the goon notices the mistake, it begins fleeing. Gai won't let it get away. He tells the goon until they eventually decide to fight. The goon fires its phonon maser cannon on the scales, and it is able to nullify the attack. It won't, however, work a second time, as it does some damage to the scales. He unleashes the Super Cavitating Torpedo Launcher. A Super Cavitating Torpedo is a torpedo wrapped in an air bubble that allows it to travel faster than the speed of sound, which means the attack will hit before the enemy will notice it on sonar. The Goon has similar torpedoes and fires them. Gai's missiles connect, taking down the Goon. He heads in the direction that the mobile suit was retreating towards. He finds a Vosgolov sub and takes it out. Tactics 13, Operation 11, Flight Unit. During this time, Zaft is trying to ground the Alliance by destroying their mass driver systems. Because of this, the Giga Float began construction of their own mass driver system and spaceport. As the Giga Float is controlled by the Junk Guild, they want to help give civilians better access to space. However, the military is going to try to use this for military purposes. Rather than protest and shut down shop, they decide to finish construction and deal with the military later. Since Gai took down the Vosgolov sub, they have moved locations, but they need to be on guard. That is what Gai and Serpent's Tail is here for. An alarm goes off. They have been discovered by Zaft. This time they attack from the air and sea. Gai takes care of the mobile suits underwater, while Elijah handles the ones in the air. Things are getting bad, so Lowe launches in the Red Frame as well. During his recent visit to Orb, his unit was fitted with a flight unit. The Red Frame flight unit is a modified version of the M1 Astray's flight pack. The wings store fuel and can be detached. Also, with the help of 8, this can be detached and flown remotely. He whips out his Gerbera Strait and boosts towards the enemy Djinns. He slices through one unit in a single slash. Lowe then targets a Goon which emerges from the sea. He slices the Goon in two. Another Djinn approaches him on a Guru. The Guru is an unmanned subflight system for Zaft's mobile suits that can't fly in Earth's atmosphere. Looking at you, Djinns and Zaku warriors. This unit is completely controlled by the mobile suit and can lift a 100-ton payload. The only weapons include a 6.2 missile launcher. Lowe instantly shoots down the Zaft unit and subflight system. Eventually, Zaft made their escape. They are hiding the fact that they can't lose any remaining Zaft forces before Operation Spitbreak takes place. Eventually, Zaft stop their assault on the Giga Float and focus their attention on other Alliance mass driver systems. Also, the Alliance would eventually reject the use of the Giga Float, leaving it to the civilians. They would also go on to try to capture Kaguya, forcing Orb's hands, leaving Uzumi to sacrifice himself in the process. The Alliance completely forgot about the Giga Float, and they eventually no longer knew of its location. Tactics 14, Operation 18, Salvage Type Red. They head back to the Giga Float after fending it off from another attack by Zaft. After the battle, Lowe wants to go out to help the people and pick up parts. He says that since the battle is over, they are no longer enemies. He asks for Gai's help, but he thinks it isn't a good idea. Lowe heads underwater with his new salvage unit. This is an underwater attachment made from a Goon. He has 2 manipulator arms that allows him to use the Gerbera Strait, which he will completely ignore. We discuss this unit in more detail during our coverage of Astray R, the counterpart manga to this light novel. Lowe goes to work saving those who are still alive. He finds a mobile suit that is pinned underneath the wreckage. The salvage unit doesn't move well, and he needs his full range of motion. He rips off the salvage unit and slices through the wreckage, saving the mobile suit. However, once he was exposed without his underwater unit, water began pouring into the cockpit. He rushes back up towards the surface. He says that cleaning all the salt water is going to be a pain in the ass, but it was all worth it. Tactics 15, Operation 12, Long Dagger. The combat coordinator was originally an Alliance creation, and with it birthed the Socius clones. However, when war broke out, the Socius clones were supposed to be disposed of. 11 Socius makes his escape from an EA facility. He escapes in a Long Dagger. The GAT-01D Long Dagger is the opposite of the Strike Dagger, which was designed around natural use. The Long Dagger was made for the Alliance's combat coordinators, specifically the Socius clones, and inherits features from the dual Gundam. The Strike and Long Dagger share the majority of their parts and can work interchangeably. The Long Dagger has double the Sea-Wiz and beam sabers and uses the same beam rifle as dual Gundam. This unit can't mount any striker packs, but it can use the Fortestra utilized by dual Gundam. It has the speed of Blue Frame. Other weapons include the M703 57mm beam rifle, also used by the Strike Dagger, a shield, the 115mm linear cannon, and an 8.2 missile pod. This Socius lives with the insecurity of being declared useless and wants to prove himself, and decides to prove himself by defeating Gai and Serpent's Tail. Maybe then the military would consider him useful. No, No, they won't. He eventually runs into 7 Socius. In a city, the Socius clones run into Gai. The two engage in battle. Because the blue frame weighs about half of the average mobile suit, it makes Gai a speed demon. The clones set traps throughout the abandoned town. Gai needs to stop evading. Even at his speeds, the long dagger is somehow keeping up. Gai realizes that he is not fighting one unit, but rather 2 units pretending to be one. The daggers overwhelm Gai and take the blue frame's head as a trophy. Loretta screams out to Gai as he passes out in the mobile suit. And that will do it for this episode. When it comes to Lowe, he evolves his engineering talents to create the best mobile suit that he can. This is how he grows. Gai grows by building relationships with the people around him. He believes heavily on his business and personal relationship and uses that to be strong. Next time, we will once again see the Blue Frame's second L. We will learn about Gene Carey as he fights against Izak in the Dual Gundam, and the Socius clones and Edward Harrelson, aka Ed the Ripper, help Rondo Gina Sahaku. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, if you're using underwater equipment, don't be like Lowe and instantly take it off, making it useless. Peace.